I'm Doug Massey, and today I'm going to share some hard truths and get into the simple fact of why some of the most interested prospects, people that will tell you they absolutely need the insurance, will give you objections. And so the whole idea is if you understand why they don't buy, now you're going to be better equipped to change their mind and actually be able to close more sales. And please like and subscribe. We're putting out new insurance sales content and final expense sales training videos just like this, like all the time. And if you stick around until the end of the video, I'm going to show you how to get the Overcoming Objections super file. This thing is awesome. It's got scripts on overcoming objections in multiple scenarios if you sell life insurance products. So I want to base a lot of the information on current agents that I am working with, some of the better agents versus some of the agents that have more issues and maybe are doing a little more of the struggling. Why are those top agents getting fewer objections? What are they doing different than everyone else? Well, let's talk about that. First off, they tend to come off as being, I want to say, likable. They're more conversational and professional. And when they call the appointment or the lead, I feel like they come off like they're not calling to sell something. And to me, that's key. And so if you were one of my agents on our remote telesales platform, one of the things that we do is we share a recording of one of our top agents basically making his presentation and overcoming multiple objections and then closing the sale. And one of the things you're going to realize is that this guy, Chris T, he knows the lingo. He knows how to relate with these folks in the region, which is what we do. We set it up to where our agents are actually selling in the region that they live in. And so he tends to have like a relatable accent. And a lot of times, one of the things he does really well is he'll get into the area that they live. When I say area, maybe the city or town, and he'll come up with a relatable story. In other words, he'll say something like, "Oh, aren't you over there by whatchamacallit?" And they'll be like, yeah. He's like, "Yeah, I had a cousin that lived over behind there. We used to go hunting all the time." And so now what he does is not only is he letting them know, "Hey, I know where you live. I know a little bit about you," but he brings up the hunting thing. And now we've got something else to talk about. And I'm not saying you should talk about hunting with everybody, but I'm using that as like one main example. At the end of the day, it usually comes down to two things. In other words, there's really two reasons why they don't want to buy from you. It's either trust or cost. To me, this is the main reasons, at least for objections. You gotta build a lot of rapport as much as possible. Meanwhile, you've gotta have a conversational sales presentation. And you've gotta be able to just be comfortable speaking with these folks. You can't call them sounding like you're reading from a script or you're calling to sell them something. That's a huge fail right off the bat. And I hate to say this, but I've gotta bring something up that's very important. Our prospects, they really, really need to trust you. And if you've got a little bit of a potentially foreign accent, or if your voice isn't totally likable, I'm going to give you a couple examples, they're not going to want to buy from you. They're just not going to trust you. It's like there's nothing you can do to build up enough rapport with them for them to go ahead and pull the trigger, even when they really want the insurance at times. So let me give you a couple examples. One, we had an agent, very professional, very smooth. Unfortunately, he had a little bit of an accent, and we realized he was getting hang-ups in the middle of his presentation. And the only thing that we can think of why he was actually getting these hang-ups, and of course he was having issues closing sales, was because these folks, they just didn't trust him. Look, these folks are taught, they're told over and over, our senior market, the people that we sell burial insurance to, never to give your information out, never to trust anybody who isn't local to you that you don't know. So if you've got a little bit of an accent, it's going to make it harder for them to get comfortable to give out their social security number. They're told not to do this, or their banking information. I mean, that's huge. A couple more examples. We had an agent. He was smart. He was pretty good, but when he talked about, it sounded like he had something in his mouth, and it killed him. He had a lot of people just literally hanging up on him, like halfway through the presentation for no reason at all. We know what it was about. And another one, we had another young lady who was really really, really good also, but she had like this super high-pitched voice. I hate to say it, she sounded like a child. And so the people had a hard time taking her seriously, and they didn't want to trust her either. During your sales presentation, another huge must, another huge key is to be able to talk about the why and to get the prospect to admit that they need the insurance. And one of the things you always want to ask, and we do, is we ask, why did they fill out the form? We don't say, so why did you fill out the form? If you ask them that, they're going to give you some weird answer. So we kind of get around that by saying, well, we know you're interested in this insurance, and I'm curious, did something happen recently? That is a great opener. That's a great way to kind of like get into the presentation. And you also want to get them to name who the beneficiary is, who's going to be benefiting with this insurance. Again, it's key to get them to both name the beneficiary and admit that they do need the insurance. Oh, and also now that you've got the beneficiary's name earlier in the presentation, you can use that again. You can remind them about that person and about why you're speaking. And all this is stuff that our top agents do. Again, another thing that they are really good at is addressing the cost. And one of the things that we make sure that is clear is that we're going to be able to find them something that they can afford based on any income, on whatever their income is. And this is something we address early in the presentation. And then when they go to close the sale, one of the things they bring up is the fact that the client isn't going to have to make any type of payment today. They make sure that, hey, look, the important thing is we get you approved, we get your policy activated, we'll take care of the money later. They let them know inadvertently that no payment's going to happen today, we're going to set this up later. And then of course, the professionals always set it up. If the client's on Social Security or disability or VA benefits, always set it up on the day that the client is going to receive those money. In other words, the day that that money is going to be put into their checking, savings, or even potentially like their debit card or Direct Express card. Look, at the end of the day, you have to understand the basics of sales and also overcoming objections. And I think this is maybe where our top agents are better than like totally separate from maybe the agents that have issues, because we know the clients always, even the most interested clients, are gonna say, well, all right, give me a couple of days to think about it, or okay, well, they'll do this. At the beginning of the presentation, they'll say, yeah, I spoke with my daughter. She says I need to get this. And the next thing you know, they're going, well, I got to talk to my daughter about it. They're using that as an excuse. So the best agents understand that this is part of the process, and they simply have a system to make these objections part of the application process. It's a matter of fact thing. It's an opportunity. When the client says, well, I got to think about it, now the top agents go, ooh, now I'm going to build more rapport and more value in the product, and then I'm going to come back and reclose them. Guys, hopefully you got something out of this video. If you'd like a copy of that Overcoming Objections super file that I mentioned earlier in the video, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. For more information on our remote final expense sales platform, just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now get out there, and whatever happens, make sure that you do something really good for someone else today. Happy hunting.